Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show that's all about speaking your truth, sharing your stories, and sparking the conversations that matter most. I'm your host, Rodney W. Collins, and this is the Speak On It Show. On this show, we dive deep into the thoughts, experiences, and ideas that shape our world. It's a place where voices are heard, perspectives are celebrated, and discussions are not just encouraged, but cherished. Whether it's culture, politics, personal growth, or just life's everyday adventures, we're here to explore it all. We've got engaging interviews, thought-provoking discussions, and sometimes we might even stir the pot a little bit. Speak On the Show is where we challenge the status quo, celebrate diversity, and engage in conversations that make us think, laugh, and grow. So get ready to be inspired, get ready to connect, and most importantly, get ready to speak your truth. Without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. It's time for the Speak On It Show with your host, Rodney W. Collins. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome. I am Rodney W. Collins, and this is Speak On It Show. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific every Saturday morning here on the Rodney W. Collins channel on Facebook and on YouTube. How's everybody doing out there? First and foremost, giving honor to God who allows me to come at you in this manner on a weekly basis. I'm back, took a week off, had a good time, got to relax, didn't watch any news. Let me clear, didn't watch any news, didn't know what was going on with this craziness, but I got some info I'm going to bring to y'all today, so get ready, get ready. James Battle, my brother, good morning, good morning. Appreciate you, bro, appreciate you. Brian Hoodie, my brother, good morning, appreciate all y'all out there for tuning in on Saturday morning, supporting me in the way you do, consistently showing up, showing out. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love. Y'all not fans, you're family. That's what I call you. Not fans, you're family. That's what we are. That's what we do here every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Got to gather myself a little bit, y'all. Got to get my bearings. Got to get my bearings. So I want to start off this morning because, we still got the boycott going on, the Target boycott. I think it's supposed to be 40 days. I don't know the exact date that it ends, but I'm going to go ahead and put this information up. Just for anybody that doesn't know, we got the Target fast going on. It's supposed to be a 40-day fast from Target. And from what I've seen on the news, Target is losing money. And all this was initiated because they decided to drop their DEI initiatives under the pressure of this president. So they're losing money. Hopefully, they'll regain their mindset of business over dictatorship or whatever you want to call it, and get back to doing business as usual. Reincorporate the DEI initiatives that they had and the initiatives they had to allow Black African-American entrepreneurs to put their products on their shelves in Target. But we'll see. We don't know whether they're going to continue going as they're going or whatever, but we shall see. So that's where we're at. And, we got the website, targetfast.org. You can go there. It'll show you all the money they're losing. It's got the ticker at the top, like the Tulsa, back in Black Wall Street times and everything like that. And these are the current fasts we got, boycotts we got coming up. You got Walmart, April 7th to the 14th. Now, I know a lot of y'all love to shop at Walmart. But April 7th through the 14th, try not to do that. Try not to do a whole lot of Walmart shopping at that time. Then you got economic blackout, which is what we did when he kicked all this off. April 18th, the economic blackout number 2, and then General Mills, the 21st to I want to say that's the 28th. Yeah, I couldn't see it. To the 28th. So, get it right. We doing what we need to do, but I got something I want to touch on as we get into this next step. Because, we've been doing these boycott this, boycott that, as far as spending our Black dollars in Black businesses and certain places that don't support us. We're trying to hold our dollars from there and put them into our businesses and our communities and everything like that. But there's something going on today that I want to get into. But you know what? Let's go ahead and jump into it. Let me get my glasses off here. Because here, this is where I have to step back and ask the question, where y'all been? And you'll get what I'm saying. Where y'all been? And when I talk about where y'all been, today, April 5th, there's a nationwide protest set to take place today in opposition to the Trump administration and its allies, with leaders vowing to stand up to push back against the most brazen power grab in modern history. Hands off. National Day of Action, Saturday, April 5th. Now, this is supposed to be protests all across the United States. The handoff rallies are taking place in more than 1,000 cities across all 50 states. And nearly 400,000 people have signed up to attend them, according to progressive organization Indivisible, which is one of the almost 200 groups partnering to organize the movement. Jacqueline Diggs Barnett, good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you, sis. Thanks for tuning in. So I'm going to ask this again. Where y'all been? You know, because from what I've seen with this hands off, our sisters, African-American black women, they're taking a seat. Remember where after the election, when black women said, we're going to sit this one out. We're going to sit this one out. They were true to what they said, because they said they're not going out here with these protests. They're not going out here to do no marching with y'all with this hands off National Day of Action, because history has shown us, and this is nothing against nobody, but I'm just a wake up call. History has shown us that when we have a movement that we're trying to do, we have allies and we have allies. Those that lie and say they with the cause, but don't participate in the movement of the cause. But then today we have this going on, and they're expecting us, our sisters as well, our sisters, to be out there protesting in these marches and everything today. But sister told y'all after the election, we're going to sit this one out. So I don't see or foresee a lot of our women being out there today with these protests. Michelle Summerall, good morning, appreciate you. I don't see a lot of our sisters going to be out there today. Now, if you do, they'll be sprinkled here and there. But I don't think it'll be a movement like we're used to, like during Me Too, like Black Lives Matter. I don't think you're going to see our sisters engrossed deeply in this. And I say that because there comes a time, Reggie P. Rowe, my brother, good morning. There comes a time where I think we, as a people, and this ain't nothing against nobody, this is just making our statement loud and clear. There comes a time where we as a people step back for a minute and say, hold up. When everything that we've been fighting for, when everything that we want as far as justice, and we're out here marching and protesting and doing all that, where y'all at? And I want to clear this up. When I say where y'all at, there's some that be out there. Don't get me wrong. There's some to be out there. But the majority, we like, where y'all at? And I say that because, April Wheaton, good morning, sis, appreciate you. I say that because at this time, with everything going on, it took this extreme, for y'all to finally stand up and say, oh, this ain't right. This ain't right. We've been having black lives taken into the hands of police officers. Racism. They were talking about DEI elimination. You know, the Fearless Fund I talked about, where they were talking about those two women in Atlanta who had the business to help other black entrepreneurs get their business, women entrepreneurs get their business started, and they protested about that. But no, we really couldn't get no buy-in from certain people. As I talked about 2 weeks ago, we got the Hispanic Latino community, those in Venezuela and Venezuelan, El Salvadoran, and all those Nicaraguan, all those people that are being deported in masses, or they revoked their citizenship. Now they want us to stand with them because what's going on, but we've been asking people to stand with us for a long time, a very long time. But we got crickets. And as I said, there's some that are true allies. But there's a majority that are just a lie. So when they got this protest going on, I'll probably watch it and look at it, see it on the news and everything. But this is what they said. They said, Donald Trump and Elon Musk think this country belongs to them. Wow. Yeah, we know. The movement's website states they're taking everything they can get their hands on and daring the world to stop them. On Saturday, April 5th, we're taken to the streets nationwide to fight back with a clear message, hands off. The protesters have three main demands: an end to the billionaire takeover and rampant corruption of the Trump administration, an end to cuts in federal funding for Social Security, Medicare, and other programs that working people rely on, and an end to attacks on immigrants, trans people, and other communities. Now, I ain't going to read all this about what they said, because I've said my piece. And I'm going to ask this question too. I said, where y'all been? But I'm going to ask this question too. For all those people that are going to be out there marching today, protesting, hands off, where were y'all when it came time to get behind Kamala Harris? It's just a question, just me thinking out loud. Where were y'all at? Because if I remember looking at the polls, the exit polls after the fact, I want to say it was 57, 58% of white women voted for this. 60 to 70% white men voted for this. Now, I can't excuse the 20% of African-American men that voted for this. I'm not going to excuse them either. But y'all voted for this. There's going to be people out there protesting today that voted for this. See, this is where, as I like to say, the water gets muddy. Because now that you've seen what's going on and how it's affecting you, it's an issue. But when we were telling you a while ago, and I'm gonna get into this. Matter of fact, let's keep rolling. Because this week, and I got a couple other slides that they had on here. Saturday, if we rise up with one demand, hands off, and all this, and tells you what it's all about and everything. But since I'm on a roll, we're gonna bypass this because I want to get to this. Kamala Harris. See, Kamala Harris tried to told you. I ain't say tell you. She tried to told you what was going to happen if this man came into office. But you didn't hear, because you couldn't get past the complexion that she carries. You couldn't get past letting the media tell you, but wait a minute, when did she stop being Indian and start being a black woman? You couldn't get past them putting that in your mind, the fact that y'all thought that he was the lesser of two evils. Kamala Harris did an interview today in a speech. And she finally said, and this article says it best. It says, Kamala Harris finally says what we've all been thinking. In a speech at the Leading Women Defined Summit in California, Kamala Harris reflects on Trump's first months in office. Throughout the 2024 presidential campaign, we heard plenty of warnings about how bad another 4 years of Donald Trump as president would be for the United States. But no one warned us as loudly as his Democratic opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris. Vice President Kamala Harris. But y'all didn't have no faith in her. Let me move on. On April 3rd, Harris spoke at the Leading Women Defined Summit in California. The event, created by former BET CEO Deborah Lee, is dedicated to empowering women of color. During Harris's remarks, she talked about the progress that has been rolled back since President Trump took office and the culture of fear he's created to stop people from speaking out against him. We're seeing people stay quiet. We're seeing organizations stay quiet. We are seeing those who are capitulating to clearly unconstitutional threats. And these are the things that we are witnessing each day in these last few months in our country, she said. As she seemed to be prepared to run down a list of examples of how we're definitely not better off these days, Harris stopped herself and said something that left her and the rest of the audience rolling. I'm not here to say, I told you so, she said. As she and the audience erupted into laughter, I swore I wasn't going to say that, she added. But in the end, Harris left her audience with a message of hope. Now, let me stop there for a minute. Because even in the darkest storms, we as a people see hope. We as a people see hope. See hope. We know hope. Fear has a way of being contagious. When one person has fear, it has a way of spreading to those around them, and we are witnessing that, no doubt, she said. But I say this also, my dear friends, courage is also contagious. See, I seen this thing about, and I just seen it yesterday about this hands-off thing today. But the first thing I said to myself when I seen it was, where y'all been? Where have you been? This woman was vice president for 4 years. 4 years. And there's nothing anyone can say in those 4 years that she did so bad that they decided not to vote for her. I'm trying to figure this out. But then when they want to go out and have these protests hands off, and they want us to hey, let's all come together and make this. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I'm just wondering, why now? Why now? Because it's affecting those people who thought they weren't going to be affected. Affected. I remember my English. Affected, not effective. But with Kamala Harris this week, not wanting to say, I told you so, but actually saying, I told you so, made my week. Because I want, just once, I would like our politicians that look like me to just say what they have to say in the manner that they would say it in a room full of black women and black men. Just once. I'm gonna digress for a minute because I seen something the other day where now their target is Jasmine Crockett. Everybody knows Jasmine Crockett, representative from Texas, outspoken, says what she had to say, went head to head with Marjorie Taylor Greene, all that kind of stuff. But this week, they were talking about her on Fox News. I think it was Laura Ingraham. And she had a guest on there. They called her ghetto. Yeah, they did. They called her ghetto. Mm-hmm. Educated, but they called her ghetto. Probably more educated than the people who was talking about her, but they call her ghetto. Why do they call her ghetto? Because they want to minimize her voice. They want to minimize her standing and the power that she has right now by speaking out against them. They want to censure her because she called the Governor Abbott Hot Wheels. Governor Hot Wheels. And the question was asked, well, how are you going to censure her when Donald Trump has said much worse? The Republican Party has said much worse, but they want to censure her. Why? Because she's out of place. Know your place. It's basically what they're saying without saying it. But they want to silence us, the ones that are speaking out. Now, Cory Booker stood up for 24 hours the other day and went through all the things and broke the record that Strom Thurmond held when he was going against civil rights and everything. And Cory Booker stood up there and did the other day. But what is going to come of that? I understand the symbolism, but what are we going to get from it? What's going to be the outcome from it? I want these people that are in these positions. I want us who may not have the microphone, who may not have the platform, to start calling it out as it is and stop biting our tongues as if we owe somebody something because of how we feel. Say what you mean what you say. Say it. If you got a feeling about something, say it. Don't worry about them people. Don't worry about them people that are going to go against you. Say what you got to say. This is a time where none of us should be silent about what's going on. None of us. Yeah, I come on Saturday mornings, I'm loud, but guess what? When I get in these conversations, I'm just as loud. I am not biting my tongue for nobody at this time. Because why? Because most of the time, the people you have these conversations with are the ones that voted for this. So when they were loud in there pulling that lever, we're going to be loud and showing them that this is what you voted for. This is what you asked for. He was your savior. That's who he is to you, those that voted for him. And the people like me that didn't vote for him, they tried to tell you about everything that was going on and everything. You ignored us at the time. You ignored us at the time. And I've never had anybody that voted for him and that party actually come out and say to me, anyway, I made a mistake. Because they're too prideful to do that. They're too prideful to say, I messed up. I should have listened. I should have paid attention. No, you won't hear it. You won't hear it. Why won't you hear it? Because it's one thing to do something. It's another thing when you have to correct something you said or did that didn't turn out the way you thought it would. So if you're waiting, I'll tell you about it. If you're waiting on someone to come and tell you or apologize for what they voted for or how it's affecting you, don't, just stop waiting. Just stop waiting. Just stop waiting, because it's not going to happen. These people are so hell-bent that they know what they did wrong, but they'll never admit to it. And if you ask them why they didn't vote for her, Vice President Kamala Harris, they can't give you an honest answer. Because if they gave you an honest answer, it would simply be because who she is and what she looks like. Had nothing to do with what was so wrong during the 4 years of Joe Biden. Had nothing to do with the fact of what immigration was all about. Had nothing to do with the price of groceries. Had nothing to do with that. They can tell you that. But you know as well as I know. You know as well as I know. President Barack Obama was a one-off. Let's call it what it is. President Barack Obama was a one-off. They said, we tried everything else, let's try it. He gave you 8 good years, 8 successful years. Look at where we're at now. So let me caveat into something else here. As we talk about this president and the things they're doing, this person sitting in office now and his minions, those that support him and everything, are actually, well, let me start off with this. Let me backtrack a little bit. Can I backtrack? These people who call themselves constitutionalists, that's what they call themselves. Most Republicans call themselves constitutionalists. They stand by everything that was written on paper in the Constitution. That's what they say. That's what they say. That's what they stand on up until now. Because now they're looking at ways to give this man another term in office, to serve a 3rd term where the Constitution strictly says you can only serve 2 terms. 2. But they're looking for methods and ways to allow this man to serve a 3rd term. Tells you everything you need to know. That this administration, the people that are supporting him, the billionaires, the rich people, and all these people that are throwing money at him and everything, because they're getting rich off the backs of everyone that's been laid off and so on, cutting. All these cuts are greasing their pockets. All these cuts are greasing their pockets. And we don't know exactly how they're doing it, but they're doing it. The stock market, the tariffs, everything that's going on right now. Think about this. I seen somebody post the other day, and I can't remember who it was. It was somebody I follow. But they said with the stock market the way it is, with the Dow dropping and all this, because I'm not a stock market guy, I don't know. But with the Dow dropping and everything, so people are going to be selling their stocks, right? But they're going to be selling because the stock value is getting lower. Who do you think is going to be buying those stocks? The millionaires. Because most of us, normal everyday people who are invested in the stock market, can't afford to buy more. We need to sell because we need the money, not the stock. So now with the stock market crashing and everything, what they're doing is they're going to go in with their money that they have and swoop up all those stocks that the lower class people, and I say lower class, but those, ones that can't really buy a lot, they're going to buy those stocks up while the market is low. And then when he takes these tariffs off and the stock market starts going back up, guess who owns all the stock? The rich and the wealthy. Like I said, I'm not the brightest person. I don't know everything about the stock market, but I know a scheme when I see a scheme. And this is a scheme to make the rich richer and make the middle class poorer. Because, I remember in his first administration, his first 4 years, we had people running around, oh, my 401k is going. They didn't care about what was going on as far as what he was doing, what they were taking away. They were more concerned. The everyday average person was like, oh, my 401k is good. My 401k is fine. Man, my 401k is going up under Donald Trump. Oh, man, we're doing good with the stock market. How's your 401k doing now? Because I seen an article that said a lot of people who had their 401ks and were retiring off their 401ks may not be able to do that now. The everyday person like you, me, and you won't be able to retire off the 401k that they had invested in all this time because of what he's doing with the tariffs, causing the stock market to do what it's doing. But they want this man to do another 4 years. Another 4 years of this. And I was going to say this a little bit, but I want to bring this up. Trump said this week that he would love to run for a third term against Barack Obama. Against Barack Obama. Now, I'm just going to get some money, my hands itchy. Y'all know that old saying, if your hand palm itchy, might get some money. Excuse me, I digress. He said he wanted to run against Barack Obama. Neither one of them are eligible to run again. 2 terms is all you can have by the Constitution. But he's saying he would want to run against Barack Obama, which he's just talking outside of his mouth. Because if after everything that's going on right now, do you actually think that Barack Obama wouldn't beat him? Even the people that couldn't stand him when he was in office would vote for him at this time. Because why? As I mentioned, their 401ks, everything they're taking away, all these different things that are going on. He wants to run against Barack Obama. No, he don't. No, he don't. He don't want to do that. He's just talking. Because why? Because it would never come to fruition. As long as the checks and balances stay in place that are supposed to be in place to prevent it. But as you see, they're trying to do everything they can to take away everything that we know to be normal and the right way to pacify them and the rich. That's what they're doing. Then I got this article here. It says, retirees stunned as market turmoil over tariffs shrinks their 401ks. Some are changing their spending habits while others are worried about their future quality of life. Americans nearing retirement and recent retirees said they were anxious and frustrated following the second day of market turmoil as they hit their 401ks after President Donald Trump's escalation of tariffs. As the impending tariffs shook the global economy Friday, people who were planning on the retirement accounts retirement accounts to carry them through their golden years said the economic chaos was hitting too close to home. Some said they are pausing big ticket purchases and reconsidering home renovations, while others said they fear their quality of life will be adversely affected by all the turmoil. And this is what one person said: "I'm just kind of stunned. And with so much money in the market, we just sort of have to hope we have enough time to recover," said Paula, 68 years old, a former occupational health professional in New Jersey who retired 3 years ago. "What we've been doing is trying to enjoy the time we have, but you want to be able to make it last," Paula said Friday. "I have no confidence here." That's just one story. And then Donald Trump came out yesterday and posted on his Truth Social, "My policies will never change. Only the weak will fail. My policies will never change. Only the weak will fail." Somebody also said, "I looked at my 401k this morning, and in the last 2 days, that's lost $58,000. That's stressful." And Victor Fetes, 54 of Georgia, who retired last week as a senior director of risk management and compliance at Verizon, "If that continues, I can't stay retired. I can't stay retired." The problem with him not being able to stay retired is, where's he going to get a job? All the government employees that have been laid off are looking for jobs. So if they're looking for jobs and he's looking for jobs, how many other people are going to be looking for jobs that are losing money in their 401k? There's not enough jobs to go around. However, when the jobs report came out yesterday, his administration was bragging about how many jobs they gained last month. In spite of all the people being laid off, they're bragging about the numbers gains in employment. These people don't care about you. They don't care about us. As long as their money's good, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. The Department of Education gives public schools 10 days to eliminate DEI programs or lose federal funding. The Department of Education gives public schools 10 days to eliminate DEI programs or lose federal funding. On Thursday, the Education Department issued a memo taking aim at another administration's ideological targets, diversity, equity, and inclusion. State leaders have been given 10 days to verify the elimination of any DEI programs in public schools. If they do not, they will not receive federal funding for Title I schools, which serve low-income districts. Federal financial assistance is a privilege, not a right. And that was Craig Traynor, Acting Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights, in a statement. When state education commissioners accept federal funds, they agree to abide by federal anti-discrimination requirements. Unfortunately, we have seen too many schools flout or outright violate these obligations, including by using DEI programs to discriminate against one group of Americans to favor another based on identity characteristics. They have taken Project 2025 talked about this too. They have taken everything that the Civil Rights Act stood for, everything that the Civil Rights Act stood for, and have flipped it. When you talk about DEI and these different things, these different programs, they have flipped it to make it seem as though these programs are discriminatory against white people. I want you to hold on to that for a minute and listen to what I just said. All the marching, all the protesting, everything that was done during the civil rights movement, that became the Civil Rights Act, and everything that grew from that, to not make it discriminatory against white people, but to give African Americans, minorities, and women, let's be clear, and women as a whole, the right to vote and all these other rights that they can have and they should have had a long time ago. They have taken that and identified the Civil Rights Act and anything that is a conduit of that as being discriminatory against white men. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. I want you to think about that. Everything we fought for just to have an equal, somewhat equal playing field to play on. They have flipped it. They have flipped it. To make it seem as though everything that was in that Civil Rights Act was discriminatory against white men. And I say white men, but it covers the white race as a whole. But white men are the ones that are driving this wagon, and there's a lot of white women that are on that wagon that are just there for the ride because it benefits them either way. The biggest benefactors, as you've heard me say, of DEI were white women. The biggest benefactors of the Civil Rights Act were white women. And now that they're trying to make it seem as though that's discriminatory against anyone white, they get to have the best of both worlds. You don't have to take it from me. Pull it up and look at it. Read everything in the Civil Rights Act. Read everything that DEI covers and tell me that they haven't flipped it to make it seem like we have flipped the script and started discriminating against them. This is 2025, y'all. 2025. And this is what's going on. Basically, what they're telling us about the things they're doing is, y'all have lived high on a hog for too long. Y'all have lived high on a hog for too long. We can ready to take it all away. We're going back. Make America great again. For who? For who? Not for the masses. Not for the masses. For those who lack melanin content. That's it. That's it. And a lot of people, I know what y'all saying out there. He's always talking about race. He's always talking about race. I talk about it because they made it about it. Deborah Harris, good morning. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. James Batter, when you're afraid to compete, your remedy is to delete. They are afraid to compete on an equal footing because they've never had to. Because they've never had to. And I'm going to go back to what I said. When people say that everything I talk about is about race, when you've walked a day in my shoes, when you walk a day in my shoes, as Hillary Clinton said, you can put lipstick on a pig. It's still a damn pig. Racism is alive and well. Michelle Long, good morning. Appreciate you. Racism is alive and well. It's never gone away. There were just covert ways that it was being used in society. At this point, it's not covert. They want you to see it loud and clear. Loud and clear. Why? Because they don't feel that there's any repercussions that's going to come their way for the actions that they do. For the actions that they do. Trump administration covertly denied FEMA relief money for blue states. Blue states meaning Democratic-led states. So the Trump administration has been denying covertly, undercover. Now they do that undercover because they know there's lawsuits. But FEMA money going out to these states that have been damaged by hurricanes, flooding, anything you can think about where FEMA responds, they've been covertly holding money back from blue states only. A federal judge in Rhode Island accused the Trump administration of covertly withholding funds for Federal Emergency Management Agency disaster relief programs from states that didn't vote for him. In March, U.S. District Judge John McConnell issued a preliminary injunction in favor of 23 states that sued the government over its plan to implement a broad pause to state aid. However, per the report, McConnell ruled that the plan fundamentally undermines the distinct constitutional roles of each branch of government and ordered the Trump administration to immediately end any funding pause until further notice. However, per the report, 19 states, all with Democratic attorneys general, provided undisputed evidence that the Trump administration has since then continued to withhold FEMA aid. Oregon claimed that more than $120 million in disaster relief assistance for winter storms, flooding, landslides, wildfires, and flood mitigation remains frozen by FEMA. Hawaii said that the agency still hasn't answered a roughly $6 million request for aid to rebuild after the 2023 wildfires in Maui. Trump officials, for their part, had claimed that FEMA was merely implementing a new manual review process for allocated funding, which it says is allowed under the court's injunction. However, the states countered that they were missing a substantial disbursement of funds on the critical grants since early February. These people don't give a damn about nobody but themselves. And here's the thing. Now, that said 23 states. It's supposed to be all blue states. You know, there's people in those states that voted for him. Even though the state is blue, you still got people that voted for him. And they're not getting FEMA aid. I want to ask this question before I go into this next thing. And y'all chime in if you can. In my 58, close to 59 years on this earth, and from the time I started understanding how politics work and what goes on in administrations, you know, I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill, you know, that kind of stuff. I've never understood how the Democratic Party, and I'm going to politics now, the different sides. The Democratic Party tries to do things to help the masses. But then the Republican Party tries to do everything to take away anything that helps the masses. We see it right now. I mean, if you really think about it, look how long they've been talking about doing something to the Affordable Care Act that helps every American in this country have health care. They've been talking about getting rid of it. And don't think it's not off the table because it's in Project 2025. Just give you a heads up. But if you notice, anything that they do has nothing to do with, if there's a program, let me just say it this way. If there's a program, case in point, the one I'm going to talk about, TSA. Let's talk about TSA for a minute. They want to get rid of, abolish TSA. And they want to abolish it to the points where they privatize it, just like they did the prisons. Just like they did the prisons, where more black men were arrested during the time when they were privatizing prisons than ever in the history of this country. Why? Because the more people, more beds that are filled in that private prison, the more money the contractor makes by privatizing. But let me get back. So they want to abolish TSA. My question to anyone that's a Republican or anyone that supports Republican concepts, why is it that when you think you see something that may not be right, you don't go in to try to fix whatever's wrong? Your main focus is get rid of it. Why is that? Everything that may be broken can be fixed. You don't have to eliminate everything just because. And this is their byproduct to everything that goes on. They don't want to fix anything. They don't want to go in and do research to try to find out what's wrong, what's broken, what can we change, what can we do, where can we save money? No. The main thing they want to do is eliminate. Why? Because what they're trying to eliminate affects the people that do the jobs every day because it's not affecting them. And this is where I just don't understand how you can be and say that you're a staunch Republican and know that their policies eliminate more than they add. And I understand that when you add things, budget, all these different things, they find money for everything else. But they can't find money to fix things. Their main focus is, let's get rid of it. It's costing too much money. When we talk about TSA, Senator Mike Lee and Senator Tommy Tuberville, that's all you need to know right there, Tuberville. Anyway, introduced the Abolish TSA Act of 2025 last week, which aims to eliminate the Transportation Security Administration altogether. The bill will require Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to expeditiously eliminate or transfer all authorities, enforcement function, and programs of the administration. The bill outlines that with TSA gone, all commercial airport security should be privatized to increase cost efficiency and security. Privatized. See, we hear that about TSA. We hear privatized about the VA healthcare. We hear privatized about Social Security. We hear privatized about everything that they want to eliminate. Why? Because what will happen is the rich cronies of these people will swoop in and get these government contracts, which is what they'll be, to privatize it and make money off the government just like they always have. So the little guy that has those government contracts will be wiped out. All government contracts will be run by who? The rich. Elon Musk has like 17 government contracts already. So him being in Doge is a conflict of interest off the top, but they don't talk about that. So what you have to do is you have to watch the writing on the wall. Republicans are about getting richer and the hell with everybody else. It's just what it is. And for those out there that are Republicans saying, I think you're wrong. Go back through history and look at it. Go back through history. Everything that they've done has been to eliminate, not to enhance, not to change, not to make it better for everybody. Eliminate. Eliminate. James Battle. It was privatized when the 9/11 tax happened. They want to provide a money grab for their donors and friends. That's what it comes down to. And if everybody remembers, TSA really kicked in after 9/11. It was established, founded in 2001 by George W. Bush following the 9/11 terrorist attacks. TSA is the Department of Homeland Security branch in charge of protecting the nation's transportation. TSA's scope includes commercial and general aviation, mass transit systems, freight and passenger rail, highways, pipelines, and ports. The agency said its 65,000 employees screened 904 million passengers and 494 million checked bags in 2024, a 5.3% increase from 2023. And then it goes in, here's what they say. The TSA has not only intruded into the privacy and personal space of most Americans, it has also repeatedly failed tests to find weapons and explosives, Lee said in the news release. A 2017 undercover test found that TSA screeners failed to find and confiscate test weapons more than half the time, though a specific percentage was not confirmed. A similar 2015 investigation showed TSA agents failing to detect 95% of test items. So let me ask this question. So Senator Lee says TSA has not only intruded into the privacy and personal space of most Americans, it has also repeatedly failed tests to find weapons and explosives. But you're talking about eliminating it and replacing it with privatization, a private industry to do this job. What makes you think that it's going to get better if you privatize it? The accountability of the government workers is a whole lot more stringent than it will be for privatization. That's number one. Number two, if it's that bad, what are you doing to fix the problem? That's what my question is. What are we doing to fix the problem? Rather than all of a sudden jump up and say, we need to get rid of it, let's privatize it. What are you doing to fix it? If you see these problems in the TSA, what are you doing to fix it? That's what you have IGs, inspector generals. I was on an IG team at one time. You go in, you see the processes they're doing by the policies, you inspect them. Where they fall short, you train them on what they need to do to fix the problems that they have. But not here. They just want to eliminate it. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's the fix. Because they want their own people to go in there and have them make money doing the same thing that these government employees are doing. It's the same thing. But they want you to think. They want you to think that it's going to be better. Can't see it. I can't see it. And the reason I can't see it is because I've seen and I've been around privatized organizations that are government entities or were government entities that have been privatized. And let me just tell you this. They cut corners. They do the bare minimum. And when it comes to safety, you can forget that. You can forget that. And they sweep everything under the rug. Why? Because there's nobody regulating what they do. Because they've gotten rid of all the IGs. Who's going to inspect them? Who's going to oversee the regulations? Because the regulators, the people that enforce it, are gone already. They fired them day one. Like I said, this administration got you bamboozled and hoodwinked. But let's get into this. Now, this segment here, the straight talk. This is not a comparison. This is facts. I want to say that from the beginning. This is not a comparison. This is facts. Because I want to bring this up because I want to bring this up. Let me just put it that way. Because I want to bring this up. This is your Secretary of Defense. Beside him is his brother. Hegseth's younger brother is serving in a key role inside the Pentagon. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's younger brother is serving in a key position inside the Pentagon as a Department of Homeland Security liaison and senior advisor, Hegseth's office confirmed. The high-profile job has met meetings with, he met with Conor McGregor, went to Guantanamo Bay and all that. Phil Hegseth's his name. His official title is Senior Advisor to the Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security and Liaison Officer to the Defense Department. Phil Hegseth, one of a number of talented DHS liaisons to DOD, is conducting touch points with U.S. Coast Guard officials on the Secretary's Indo-Pacific trip, which includes stops in Hawaii, Guam, the Philippines, and Japan. Wilson also said in response to a query by the Associated Press. Border security, responsible DHS, has been highlighted as one of the top priorities for President Donald Trump, and thousands of U.S. troops have been deployed to the border to assist DHS with curbing illegal immigration. Now, his brother is sitting in the office in the Pentagon because of him. Only because of him. What is his background? Let me break it down to you. He's a podcaster. He worked with his brother at one time before. He worked alongside his older brother when Pete Hegseth was CEO of Concerned Veterans for America, a nonprofit that fell into financial difficulty during his time there. He paid his brother right here, $108,000 to do media relations for the organization, according to federal tax records. $108,000 in a nonprofit organization that went under or lost financial difficulty due to him being in charge and him getting $108,000 a year. Nepotism laws guide government hiring. Nepotism laws guide government hiring. A 1967 federal nepotism law prohibits government officials from hiring, promoting, or recommending relatives to any civilian position over which they exercise control. Further review of Phil Hegseth's hiring would be needed to determine if it ran afoul of federal nepotism laws, but it does not pass the smell test. Basically, they're saying he shouldn't be in the position. Now, we've seen nepotism in government. Let's just go back a little bit. There are also exceptions to the nepotism law for the president's office. In his first term, Trump appointed his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, to serve as a senior advisor. When he was president, Bill Clinton named First Lady Hillary Clinton to serve on his healthcare task force. In the Biden administration, Jake Sullivan served as national security advisor to the president, while his brother Tom Sullivan was the counselor of the State Department. Now, you probably don't care about this. You look at it, they do it all the time. Nepotism is alive and well when you talk about white men in government. Let's just be real. As a whole, it happens all the time. Nepotism, people putting their kids in positions they don't think they're worthy of, so on and so forth. But I bring this up today. Because I'm tired. And I understand people may not know a lot about, they don't get into the politics and they don't know who's serving where and all this because they don't care. I get that. But my problem with this is when you see this, I get upset about it. I get upset about it because it's been happening for years and years and years. And you know why I really get upset? Because of this. That's LeBron James and Bronny James, his son, both on the Los Angeles Lakers. And I'm tired of hearing our people condemn LeBron James' son being in the NBA like he don't belong. I'm tired of hearing our people, specifically Stephen A. Smith, the pundits, and other people in conversations saying that Bronny James shouldn't be in the league when we got white folks doing this stuff every day and nobody says nothing. But when you have a black father taking care of his black son, everybody's in an uproar. He shouldn't be there. He took somebody's spot. Shut up. And this is the last time I'm going to talk about this, but I want to get this off my chest today. I understand there's a lot of people out there that don't get into politics, that don't understand the nepotism that goes on, but you know it goes on. When you see it in the white community, you don't say anything. But when this man, and the thing is this, here's the problem I have. It has nothing to do with Bronny. It has everything to do with LeBron. If you don't like LeBron, you're pissed about this move. If you like LeBron, you're okay with this move. The bottom line is this: nepotism, people giving their child a hand up, has been going on in this country for years and years and years. But when you talk about LeBron James and his son, you would think they killed somebody. That's why I have an issue with what's going on when they talk about him compared to what they talk about with Pete Hegseth and his brother. What is the difference? The complexion for the protection. And we as a people will beat LeBron James down for doing something for his son that we don't even pay attention to, for somebody who's over top of the largest military in the world, putting his son in a position that he knows nothing about. But we're concerned about a son playing basketball. And I'm adamant about this because I had many discussions on this. Many. And my biggest question to them is, what's the issue? He doesn't deserve to be there. He's not that good. Let me give you some names in sports that some of y'all may have forgot about that are so adamant about LeBron James and his son. George Karl, remember the coach? The revered coach George Karl, supposed to be this great guy. His son, Kobe Karl, he did about 10 years in the league. Was he worthy? He sat on the end of the bench for many years. Nobody said anything. Coach K, when he was coaching at Duke, his grandson, think about it, his grandson sat on the end of the bench. Nobody said a thing. Do you think he was good enough to be there? No, but his grandfather was the coach. So guess what? He's on the team. Doug Collins, Coach Michael Jordan in his early career with Chicago. Doug Collins' son played at Duke and then jumped from Duke to being an assistant coach in the NBA under his father. But nobody had anything to say about that. I get upset about this because when a black man, let's think about it. They tore LeVar Ball down about him talking about his sons. Any man, and I'm not going to go black and white, any man who doesn't do everything in his power to take care of his kids, his son, to give him a standing somewhere, and you have a problem with that, but you don't have a problem with what's going on in this administration with these people that are running this country, doing the same thing behind closed doors. Why? Because you're not paying attention to that. You would rather revere LeBron James taking care of his son because you don't like him or however you feel, rather than worrying about what these people can do as a whole to your livelihood in this country. That's why I'm so adamant about it. I'm not going to apologize for being adamant about this, but it just eats at my soul to see us tear down LeBron James for doing what he's doing for his son and overlook all the other things that are going on around us. Stephen A. Smith, Call this man out as a father. Stop this. And then people saying he shouldn't have confronted him. Yes, he should have. Yes, he should have, because he wasn't talking sports. He was talking about his parenting. But we want to overlook that. Bronny shouldn't be in the league. This, that, and another thing. I'm going to ask you this. Anybody out there that has a problem with it, let me ask you this question. If you were in the position and had the stature that LeBron James had, are you telling me that if you had the opportunity to put your son in a position, no matter what it is, you wouldn't take advantage of it? This man's been the face of the league since he was 19 years old. He had an opportunity to get his son in the league. And it's not like his son is sorry. Let's just go there. It's not like he can't play. But for people to actually vilify this young man and his father for playing a sport, let's go for playing a sport, but you overlook the ones that are tearing this country down from the inside out. But you're mad at him for playing a sport. But you're not mad at them for benefiting financially and otherwise of sitting in these positions that control everything that goes on in your life in this country. Think about that the next time you say something about them. Think about that the next time that you vilify a black father who's doing what he should be doing as a father, because one time a day you'll say he ain't there. Now that he's there doing what he's supposed to do, you're mad at that. What is he supposed to do? And at the end of the day, LeBron doesn't pay him. The owners pay him. And if the owners decided to put him in that position because LeBron asked them to, why are you mad at LeBron? They could have told him no. I'm just saying. So be mad, say what you got to say. At the end of the day, we're concerned about the wrong shit at this time. We're concerned about the wrong things at this time. And let's take into account, this young man almost died. He had a heart attack. Are we overlooking the fact that this man, this father, almost lost his son to a heart attack, and now he has an opportunity to play and sit beside his son in a professional standing, and you got a problem with that? Come on, people. We got to get better. We got to get better. Jerry Page, hey man, it is what it is. Let's be real. Anybody that has a problem with this needs to look in the mirror and ask themselves, why do you have a problem with that? Why do you have a problem with that? Let me get it right. But you don't have a problem with this. You got a problem with LeBron James, but you don't have a problem with this. People need to start reading. People need to start understanding that this is not something that just started happening with LeBron James. This has been going on through the history of our country by other folks. But you're mad at a brother, a black man, when he does it. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. That's all I'm going to ask. Please make it make sense. Let's go. Mind, body, and soul, mind, body, and soul. 2025. This year, we are concentrating on the 3 Ps. Purpose, power, and possibility. With purpose, I align my actions. With power, I claim my strength. And with possibility, I embrace the endless opportunities life offers. Today, mind, body, and soul. I know I haven't done this in a while, so I want to bring it back to y'all. Mind, body, and soul today. This is the quote. It deals with resilience. Strength isn't in avoiding the storm. It's in learning to dance in it. Strength isn't in avoiding the storm. It's in learning to dance in it. We all go through our trials and tribulations, our ups and downs, our good days, our bad days, and everything like that. And you can't avoid that. You know, sometimes we try to run from the things we need to face head on. Our lives are going to have trials. They're going to have tribulations. We have to be strong enough to understand that, you know, the storm will end. But you can't be always trying to go around it. Go through the storm. And learn to dance in the storm. Learn to celebrate the goodness within the storm. Sometimes we get in the storm and woe is me and, oh, I'm never going to make it out of this. I'm not. The positive mindset helps that storm, helps you make it through that storm no matter what may come. No matter what may come. You know, we're in a time right now where everything looks cloudy. It looks cloudy for a lot of us. When we talk about the 401ks, when we talk about things that are going on with this administration, how it's going to impact me, Department of Education, all these different things that are going on, it's a storm. And the reason I wanted to use this quote right here is because last week I was off. And I went to a buddy of mine's 60th birthday party. And we've been friends, a brotherhood, for 40 years, over 40 years. And while I was there, we reflected on old things, talked about new beginnings, where we've been, where we're going, all those different things. But one thing that we really talked about was the storms we've been through. Because we talk about them when we get to the other side, because we know we made it through, we persevered. But one thing I got out of those conversations with, you know, the three of us who have been friends for over 40 years was that we all have gone through our storms. Some we know about, some we don't. And nobody's storm we looked at as being bigger than the others. There was no comparisons, no looking at your storm was bigger than mine. Oh, I couldn't have made it through that. We don't look at that. We talk about them because we've persevered. But one thing I thought about was in those storms, all of us had to lean. And a lot of times we lean on the person, the parents, the friend. We lean. But there's one constant that I realize we all lean on. That's God. God didn't bring us this far to only bring us this far. Let me say that again. God did not bring us this far to only bring us this far. Those storms we talk about, those trials and tribulations, those things you go through, you can't avoid them. You can try, but if they're there, they're there. And rather than trying to avoid them, learn how to dance in that storm. Learn how to look at the positives that could come out of that storm. Stop looking at everything that might happen and look what the goodness of God is going to make happen. Take the time to sit back and reflect. Don't dwell. Reflect on those things that he's already brought you through when you're in the midst of this storm right now. Take the time to sit back and think of how you thought you wasn't going to make it through that while you're trying to figure out how you're going to make it through this. Don't give up. Learn to dance in the storm. Because here's the thing I know to be true. Storms are going to come. Some of those storms could be hurricanes. Some of them storms could be typhoons. Some of them could just be a shower. But they're going to come. How you choose to deal with them, how strong you are within your faith is going to dictate how long that storm lasts and how you come out on the other side. Don't sit in the rain. And just because you don't have an umbrella, think there's no way out. Dance your way out. Look at how far you've come in order for you to see how far you're going to go. See, I think sometimes we get so caught up in the negativity of these storms that we don't look at the fact. And you've heard this said many times, and I'm probably paraphrasing, but after every storm, there's a rainbow. You may not see it each time, but if you look, you'll find that rainbow. you'll find that rainbow. So my word to you this morning is dance through the storm. Smile through the storm. Persevere through that storm. Because as I said, it may be a drizzle, it may be a thunderstorm, it could be a hurricane. We don't know what storm we may have to go through, but your mindset and your faith in God can get you through any storm that comes your way. Dance through it. Dance through it. And the reason I keep talking about dancing is because when I talk about that 40th birthday party, well, we danced. We danced. And the funny thing about it was, as we danced and we did some of the old things we used to do, me and my two partners, it brought back a lot of memories. And it made me forget about everything that I was talking about this morning. I forgot about the politics of life. I forgot about all the things, the bad things that are going on and everything like that. They're still there. They were still there. All the things I talked about this morning were still there in this world while I chose to dance. While I chose to dance, nothing changed with the things that were going on in this world. That's what jumped out at me. And I didn't think about any of this probably till yesterday, because I was so happy of the celebration and being able to dance and have a good time and reflect on the past of where we've been and where we're going and where we're at and all those different things. I didn't worry about what was going on in the world. I was holding on to the goodness of my world. Take that with you this weekend. Dance. And the quote says, strength isn't in avoiding the storm. It's in learning to dance in it. And as I said, maybe a sprinkle, maybe a thunderstorm, maybe a hurricane. Dance anyway. And keep your faith in God. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. I appreciate everybody tuning in today. I'll be back again next week as normal, as scheduled. All the time, Josh Boyd, my brother. Good morning. As scheduled. I appreciate everybody following me. Keep tuning in. Share, like, share, subscribe. Do what you do with all the other podcasts you may follow. I got some big things coming. Don't want to announce them yet because I'm working through some things. But when we get it in motion, you're going to like what we got coming. So as I always say before I sign off, love yourself, love one another, keep your head up, and most definitely, keep your faith in God. He never left you nor forsake you. I'll see y'all again next week. I love y'all, and I'm out. Peace.